everybody, and welcome to the Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined podcast. I'm your host, Hassan. Joining me, as always, is Tristan.
Hey.
And this week, we're continuing on Tristan's trek to watch all 26 seasons of the Young Justice cartoon. And it's a very special one this week as we have hit season 13. We're just halfway through that. Yeah, Tristan, go ahead. Tell us about season 13 of your favorite cartoon. Go ahead, Tristan. Tell us about your favorite cartoon.
Season 13, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, are we not? I thought it's season 13 because we said last
Sure.
time that this would be the halfway mark.
Mm-hmm. Remind me what happened in season 12?
Why don't?
It's all blur.
So I haven't watched all the so I can't. You're the one. If I remember correctly, it's that. So it was Superboy and McGann's son.
Okay. Yeah.
Got into a fight against the son of Zatanna and Jason Blood. So they were fusing because they were both.
Jason Blood's like hundreds of years old, and Zatanna's like 18 in the show with a 5-year time skip. So plus then some. No, it doesn't matter.
Are you okay, Tristan? Because you're acting like this is the first time you've heard any of this.
No, it's not the first time I've heard of this. I'm just taking some notes because I want a outsider's perspective from what I have already seen and viewed, and I want to get the right thing down.
You're sure you're okay? You just
You
seem very lost on all of this.
Yeah. Question.
Yeah.
What is Green Arrow up to, if anything?
Well, sorry, you said Green Arrow.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Who cares what Green Arrow? What's I guess Roy. What's Arsenal up to? There's too many Roys. Speedy Arsenal.
Do you
Guardian?
Yeah. You forget about season 11?
No. I just want to see if you remember it.
Yeah. You don't remember the Watchtower crashing into Earth and them dying.
I mean, who would? That's like a common occurrence in the DC universe.
Okay.
Huh?
Tris, I just have one last thing to say here.
What?
Wake up.
Oh.
Wake up, Tristan. You gotta wake up.
I don't want to wake up.
Wake up. Wake up. Tristan, we gotta start the podcast. Come on, wake up.
Oh, fine. I'm
Get up.
waking up.
Tristan, wake up.
I'm not doing a transition. That's a lot more effort than I actually have. Okay.
Well, Tristan, I've got some good news for you.
Oh, great. What's the good news, Zon?
There's actually 27 seasons of the Young Justice cartoon.
Oh, fuck off. There's not. I have better news that they've killed that show pretty much officially. Pretty much officially.
No, that show's definitely dead. David Zaslav hates animated things. There's no way he would greenlight bringing something back like that.
Yeah, I feel bad for those writers and animators and all that stuff. I really actually do. I am glad that show is non-existent past season 4. I'm so sorry. You deserve better. But my God, that show was garbage.
Was it only 4 seasons? Really?
Yeah, only 4 seasons.
Wow, felt like longer.
You're telling me. But thankfully, Hassan, we're here to not talk about where the fuck that is, Young Justice. We're here to talk about something else, Hassan.
What's that?
And I'm actually excited today. I'm actually ecstatic, and also depressed because season 7 and 8 of The Simpsons rewatch. The Great Simpsons rewatch, if you will.
Yep.
7 and 8.
Yep. So just to give the audience some details here. So season 7 began airing in September of 1995. So
sure
that's
did.
Roughly where we're at here.
Mm-hmm.
It opens with Who Shot Mr. Burns? Part 2.
Yes.
Arguably, we're at the absolute height of The Simpsons. Like,
no,
in terms of like just viewership and sort of like general popularity, yes. Right? I don't think it gets any higher than those two parters, right? People were genuinely, talking around the water cooler about who actually did it and their theories and all that. Like, I think The Simpsons does, it might plateau from here, but it does not get higher than this.
Not really. It does, as far as the ratings go.
Mind share.
Well, you say that, but it is in season 8 where we do get the highest rated episode of all time. So I'll tell you that.
Sure. But again, I'm just talking like societal mind share, kind of general populist discussions around it. This to me feels like the peak of The Simpsons.
You're correct. Yes, I fully agree. You are right. Basically, with like Who Shot Mr. Burns from season 6 leading to season 7, that is kind of like the society. Like The Simpsons is the thing. It's being talked about all over the place. It has been for a few years, but now it's like it is the thing. Boom. It's exploding. It's on your TV. You either love it or you hate it. Maybe you have a middle opinion. I don't give a shit. But typically, season 7 is where you can kind of like take the show and go, this is where the fervor erupted.
Yeah. So let's hear about season 7.
Yeah. Do you want to hear about which one do you want to hear about? Hold on.
I think
as we do for all these episodes, we have a best and worst episode of the season, and Hassan gives me a third middle child, basically.
Well, and I think first you give us your overall rating of the season.
This is true. Right? I do. So, season 7.
Yep.
Are you ready for this?
Yep. Let me guess. Season 7. I'm going to guess average 8.8.
Ooh, close. Too high, though.
Okay.
8.32.
Okay. All right. So there's going to be a couple of stinkers in here, is my guess, dragging it down.
There are.
Actually, we know that because, spoiler, or a peek behind the curtain, not spoilers. There's a clip show in this season, which is wild to me. There are two clip show episodes already. That's crazy to me.
This is actually not the second one. This is the third.
Somebody on The Simpsons watched anime, huh? Only thing we're missing is clip. I'm trying to remember. Anime used to always be, I think it was beach episode, then clip show episode, because it was beach episode to end the mid-season point, clip show to remind you when it picks up after a break.
Pretty much.
That's all we need for The Simpsons, apparently.
Yeah, it didn't do the... So it didn't follow that formula. It did not follow the beach episode clip show approach. Because before... We'll get there. So I do have some criteria. And I'm not going to repost the criteria every episode. That's stupid. I do have one point that I need to keep making, though. If you are a clip show, unless you truly are something above the rest, or worse than the rest, you get an automatic 3 out of 10. Because I hate clip shows.
The only good clip show I can ever think of is, and I think we might have discussed this the last time, but it is
Clerks.
episode 2 of Clerks the
Yeah.
Animated Series.
Exactly,
because
yes.
They literally just
It's
are redoing clips from episode 1. It's so good.
It's the greatest clip show of all time.
Yes.
Truly the best one. You'll never top it. Don't even try.
Yeah. Why don't you just give us a quick rundown of why this season is an 8.32?
Okay. There are very few stinkers. Very, very few stinkers in season 7. There are I think the average episode is like a 7 or an 8. And that's actually no. Looking at it more, I'm pretty sure the average episode of this season is a 9. If I took everything and removed the outliers, 9 comes up more and more and more. We have 2 10s though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know which ones would be the 10s.
Just wild guess. I'm sure you have the list up in front of you.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you think would be 10s. Curious.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Much About Nothing, I think, could be up there.
That one's good.
That's some real good Apu.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay. Lisa the Iconoclast. I could see that one.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
10. Okay, but what are the? So I'll say,
Yeah.
if it's one of your good episodes, we could just go in, or like if one of those 2 10s is the good episode, let's start the good one this time.
All right.
And if not, let's hear both of them.
Okay, I'll go with the good one. So, okay, there are 2 10s. Now, the first 10 out of 10, and these are back to back actually, hilariously, is Two Bad Neighbors. I think you know this one. I think everybody does. This is the one where Homer and Bart have this feud with George W. Bush. Or George H.W. Bush, sorry.
H.W., yes.
Yeah. Because he moves across the street from them. This is the first iteration of Disco Stew, all this stuff. It's a 10 out of 10. Sadly, not my favorite episode of the season, though. Which is Bart the Fink.
Really? Bart the Fink. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, let's hear about it.
This one. So, this is the one where Bart basically, because he opens a checking account for his $100 he wins from is it Marge's or Homer's dead aunt? I can't remember. Gets that from her after staying a night in a haunted mansion, because standard practice for getting money from.
No, it's totally how you get money. Yep.
Yeah. But basically, he is out at a Krusty viewing one day, and because checks get notarized back in the day, remember checkbooks and stuff?
Unfortunately, I do.
So for your check to go through back then, you had to actually autograph the back. And so Bart, who cannot get a Krusty autograph, despite the fact that he has been, he has saved Krusty multiple times and have had him living in his home and status quo. He writes Krusty a check for 25 cents and puts it in his back pocket. And he's like, well, there you go. If Krusty wants that 25 cents, he has to, autograph the check, and I get that through the mail. So there's his autograph. And then it comes back with a stamp on it, and it says Cayman Islands Holding LLC on it. And Bart goes to the bank, and he's like, look, Krusty needs to autograph this. This is a check. I need a signature. And the bank teller's like, well, no, it's very common practice for companies to just stamp the name of the recipient on the check because it's easier and faster. And Cayman Islands Holding Corporation LLC. So basically, Bart gets Krusty busted by the IRS, and they take everything away from him. His show is...
This show is so fictional. That'd never happen.
It wouldn't. But yeah. Krusty essentially gets the Nicolas Cage treatment. And so he has to kind of just schlub it on his own TV show with like no money and no set or props. And all the stuff gets sold off. This is also where Bret Hart shows up, not as a guest star. As far as I know, he's not a guest star. It's not confirmed. Oh. I think he might have been, but he shows up and like he buys Krusty's mansion because the Iron Sheik lives next to the mansion, and so they can fight a lot. Yeah,
okay,
that's a good one. But the actual guest, as far as I can tell, besides Phil Hartman, is Bob Newhart shows up. This is later on because Krusty fucking like goes ahead and fakes his own death to get by the IRS. He gets in his plane, the Enola Gay something, which is
okay.
Yeah,
a choice.
I can't remember the full name of the plane. It's got a long name. It starts with Enola Gay blank, but that's yeah. Anyway, he flies the plane into, I guess it's Mount Springfield or one of the mountains that's next to Springfield. One of the 25 different mountains that's there. Slams into the mountain, and basically his plane is found as a burned piece of wreckage. He is gone except for his clown shoes, and Bart feels bad because he basically busted Krusty and essentially got him killed.
The plane is called I'm on a rolla gay.
I'm on a rolla gay. That's what it is. That's what. Yeah. Krusty's a classic guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So this episode is noteworthy for just being a good, like this. There's nothing that brings this episode down. The plotline is good. The characters are well done. Good little family moments here or there. The X factor of bringing in Bob Newhart as a guest, who's there for a different funeral, for Krusty's funeral, and Phil Hartman just sells him out, and like he's like, oh, Bob Newhart, everybody, he's here to talk on Krusty's behalf, and Bob's like, I'm actually here for a different funeral, and Phil's like, oh yeah, I got you, like Troy McClure, yeah, I got you. Bob Newhart, everybody, just sells him out. He doesn't want to be there either. And he has to walk up.
Though, I would believe that Bob Newhart could show up accidentally to the wrong funeral and would still do an incredible job.
Yeah, so I believe the story goes with this part because Bob Newhart goes up there and he delivers this little monologue and it sucks. I'm pretty sure it's 100% improvised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty funny.
And it's like it's very funny because it kind of sucks. I'm pretty sure it's on purpose. And it's just like it's when you're recording lines for a show, even if you are a guest star that has kind of these similar speech patterns, they bring those down a little bit so you don't just so you don't get annoyed as the audience by whatever weird speech patterns the guest has. And Bob Newhart doesn't really have any weird speech patterns. I've watched the Bob Newhart show, and I've seen him do stand-up and that sort of stuff, and he just speaks like a regular guy. So he threw in a bunch of ums and ahs into the speech to make it way more boring than it had to be.
Okay, all right.
It's wonderful. This is also where you get this little guy named Handsome Pete. Very, like, he's not even a character. He's this is more or less like one of the first notable roles as well for the sea captain. Because he shows up and they're talking to him about like Krusty, who has started a fishing business, as Rob something else. And Handsome Pete is there. Is like, oh, they blow up a balloon. Like, have you seen this clown? He's like, aye, that's Handsome Pete. He does and sings for a nickel. Hey, Pete, do you have customers? And he comes in, like this little man just walks in, crusty makeup on, and he's just like smiling from ear to ear and just like playing the concertina and dancing. And it's just like, man, that hits me. I don't know why. It just does. Yeah. So that's in my opinion, the best episode of season 7.
Okay. So what's the worst?
Remember how I said there's a clip show?
Uh-huh. It's the clip show?
It's the clip show. The Simpsons 138th episode spectacular. Now here's the thing. This one I do give a little bit of leeway to because it is hosted by Phil Hartman as Troy McClure. And he does a really good job of like riffing off the episode, the clips and that kind of stuff. So, hey, it's good. It's still a 3 out of 10. It's still a 3 out of 10. But, out of all the clip shows, this one ain't bad. So, this is the one where basically it's Troy McClure and he shows off some like some footage of like the old Simpsons, like the Tracy Ullman show Simpsons, and they just play like little short episodes, like 3 in a row, and it just cuts back to Troy McClure's face, and like after it's done, he's just like stone faced, like what the fuck did I just watch? Wasn't that something, everybody? Wasn't that hilarious? This is also where you get this is also where you get him answering questions with the Simpsons, like, oh, Homer seems to get dumber every year. Well, you be the judge of that. And he shows clips of Homer getting dumber every year. They have little trivia bits, like, oh, what does it say when Maggie gets scanned in the scanner in the couch gag opening title card? And it's like, oh, it says NRA forever, like Matt Groening wanted. God, not true. Oh, that's not true.
No, I know. Man, if they had just done an entire episode of that,
yeah,
boy, that would be so much better than a clip show. Especially because,
yeah, well, they do that eventually.
So going back to this is the height of the Simpsons.
Yes.
This is the 138th episode.
Yep.
So we are well into the point that Simpsons is now in syndication.
Yes. Easy.
It's hard for me to try and recall this early because this would, it's not quite what feels like, this is all Fox has for animated shows. It's like this King of the Hill and Family Guy's
Family Guy sure is. Yep. And the Cleveland Show.
Those were the only 3 shows, but it definitely feels like
bad.
1995. We're talking, at the very least, they must have had, Simpsons is on whatever, Saturday, Sunday night. Episodes come out. And then, hey, every Wednesday, 2 back-to-back episodes. And so to me, it's just crazy to be doing these clip shows as if, hey, in case you forgot these moments from The Simpsons.
Well,
it's like, are you kidding? This is cable television. Do you know how many times I have seen each of these episodes already?
Seriously. So here's the reason for it, and this is the often cited reason for why they did clip shows back in the day, and still kind of do, depending on the situation. But the reason is basically they want to give the writers and the staff a break. So for one episode, they do the bare minimum. Here's a clip show. Get off our cases. Sorry. See you next week, kind of thing. And that is usually the case with clip shows. And most TV shows, if you ask why that TV show is a clip show, it is usually to give the cast and the staff a break from the episodes, because they're pumped out pretty regularly, and it can get very tiring to do that sort of stuff. It's a lot of creative drive, a lot of creative effort.
Oh,
week in, week out.
I totally understand that. It's just looking back on it and seeing these, it's kind of wild to be like, man,
it is.
At the height of, syndication and how, hey, by the time you get to season 5, you could have easily seen every episode of The Simpsons 5 times over just by watching it on cable television, not even necessarily having to seek it out. Just,
here's some reruns of
Simpsons is on again. I'll rewatch. Yeah, it's crazy to me to do it.
It had 6 seasons to re-air, so yeah, why wouldn't they, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, what is your choice for episodes of season 7?
Yeah, so my choice is going to be Lisa the Vegetarian.
Ooh.
And the reason I want to choose it is that I'm shocked. So this is the 133rd episode of The Simpsons. If you had asked me, this would be like a season 4 episode. I would have said, no, surely Lisa, early season 4, they made her a vegetarian, right?
No. Season 7.
Yeah, it's surprising to me that it's that
don't eat me
many episodes. You won't. I think about the line all the time, always in my head. You won't eat our meat, but you glue with our feet.
I thought you were gonna say you don't make friends with salad. You don't make friends with salad.
No, it's the cow on the glue bottle. Probably because that's how I learned that glue is made out of cows. It's like, okay, well, I'm still going to use this. I don't care. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to me that elements of those characters that, I think if you ask anybody 25 or older, probably around there, hey, what are some of Lisa's, character traits? Oh, she's smart, she's an activist, plays saxophone, vegetarian / vegan, right? That feels like such an immediate, like, oh, this is part of her. But realizing that it came that late is a real surprise. That at one point, hey, somebody could have watched 132 episodes of this show, and vegetarian never would have come out of their mouth to describe her.
Yep, that's fair. So, FYI for the episode, 9 out of 10. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's also where we get the one of the most famous Ralph Wiggum lines, which is, "Oh boy, sleep! That's where I'm a Viking!" Which, we have to discuss this line for a second. "That's where I'm a Viking" has split in the meaning. Because it either means when he sleeps, he dreams that he is a Viking. Sure. Or he is a Viking at sleeping. There is a absolute mind battle between what that line means, and I fucking love that so much.
See, here's the thing. You're missing the third option.
Which is?
You know who else also sleeps?
Regularly everybody, typically?
Odin the Allfather.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What if Ralph
is Odin?
And this is all just, he's secretly the god of it all.
Okay. You mentioned that. Here's my thing. I think the only way The Simpsons ends, and I don't know why we're getting this now, but we are. The only way The Simpsons ends is with a pull out to Ralph Wiggum doing a Tommy Westfall from St. Elsewhere. I think that's the only way. Yeah. Or even better, they just get the rights to re-air the ending of St. Elsewhere.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Just literally unchanged.
Halfway through. Yeah. Like halfway through the episode.
Oh, I was having a dream.
It's just the end. Or the end of the Bob Newhart show. Either one. One works.
What's his face must have had a guest episode on this, right? The cop dude who was in that show, but also Law and Order, I believe, that kind of kicks off the whole. They're all connected.
Robert Munch. Not Robert Munch. John Munch.
Yeah,
Robert
he must have been on the
Richard
Simpsons.
Belzer. Richard Belzer. I'm pretty sure he has been.
Great, connected.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Just what I will say about this episode is, it's people throw around the phrase, "Oh, you could never make that today," as if to say it's too edgy. I feel like you couldn't make this episode today where
Really?
it's just, making fun of Lisa for being a vegetarian. That's such a...
Well, I mean, the point of the episode is that they learn to accept the fact that she is different.
Yeah, they learn to accept it. But really, Homer just be like, vegetarian, what a loser. And it's just like, man, it's good to see that in the 30 or so years, hey, there are still people like that, right? But, by and large, society has moved past that and just gone, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with being vegetarian. That's totally fine. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. It would have a hard time being made today. Before we leave season 7, I just want to leave you with some of the choicest lines from season 7, just so you can know where these come from. Lines like, even stupid babies need love.
Okay.
Or, I came here to see hunk if you're horny in peace. I fucking love that.
That's good, yeah.
Damn you, Walt Whitman! Walt freaking Whitman leaves to grasp my ass! Or, let's see. Oh, that's right. The Fish Called Selma thing later on in the season does a great... does us a great service of giving Selma even more last names than we could ever fucking wield. And she eventually gets like 5 or 6 more throughout the rest of the series. But yeah, man, there's some good choice lines here. This is the season with Homer Palooza, by the way, where like he goes and joins Lollapalooza.
Featuring Kid Rock and Little Josie.
No, that's actually the Spring Break episode.
Oh yeah, that's Spring Break. Right.
This one's with the Smashing Pumpkins and Crash Test Dummies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
This is where If It's Brown, Drink It Down comes from. If it's brown, drink it down. If it's black, send it back. And there's a very relevant Ticketmaster reference here in this episode. Ugh. Yeah, and to think, Smithers, you laughed when I bought Ticketmaster. Nobody will pay a 100% service charge, he says. Wonderful. Ticketmaster sucks. Anyway.
Yup. Moving on.
Season 8. Season 8. Son, I'm so excited. This is the most excited I'll ever be for this fucking show. So you know why?
One was 8.32. I'm going to guess 8.78.
Still too high, but definitely... But the fact that you ranked Season 8 lower than Season 7, how fucking dare you?
Well, it's because I was that far. I was like, well, I can't. If I go up by 0.5, it's going to be way off. So I'll drop it up just a little bit.
Fair enough.
I think I'll be closer.
8.44.
Okay. All right.
The most tens ever in this series is in season 8. This is the best season, hands down. I have yet to see a season as good as season 8. Anybody who jumped off before season 8, you were wrong. Let me tell you. Season 8 is truly a masterpiece. If it's not a 10,
you just gotta wait until the season where they got Ricky Gervais, and you'll love it. Trust me.
Oh, I already watched that one. It sucks.
Oh, great. 10. What?
Ricky Gervais is the least funny person in the world. In that, at least, especially in that episode. Holy crap! I don't even like Ricky Gervais, and they misused him. So. That's saying something if I'm defending him. Anyway, season 8 has a bunch of 10s. A bunch. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 10s.
Okay. Then we're going to go the opposite this time because there's so many. I want to hear, what's the worst episode then? What is dragging this season down?
That's the thing. This is the best thing about this season. This is why this season is so good. First off, 0 clip shows.
Yep.
However, in lieu of a clip show, we do get a new tradition that starts with this season, more or less, which is The Simpsons give you 3 stories of something.
Oh, yep. I'll also mention, interestingly, this season starts with a Treehouse of Horror.
Yep.
That feels weird.
Starts with
I don't think I like that.
It works enough. I mean, the thing is, this is also one of the best treatises of horrors. This is The Thing and I.
It feels weird, the idea of, hey, here's the new season of this show, and it's the, like, you know, and not like The Simpsons really has much of a canon or plot development.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's the, like, hey, here's stuff that doesn't actually happen and is just made up episode.
Yeah. This is true. So, they just first discussed the Treatise of Horrors in season 8. That is where you get The Thing and I, which is where you get Hugo, which is the guy who makes the pigeon rat. That's a fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. The Genius Tub, which is where Lisa makes that little society.
Genesis Tub.
Yeah, I know it's the Genius Tub in my notes. I mean, maybe you've gotten it wrong.
Yeah,
Genesis Tub. Yeah. And then Citizen Kang, which is the one where Kang Kodos poses Bill Clinton and Bob Dole. The Genesis Tub is not the best one out of all these.
Still a good one.
But it's still really good. Yes, still solid. However, so, like I said, no clip shows. However, we did start with a three stories presented by blank, The Simpsons. And this one is one of the better ones. There are some okay ones later on. But this one is The Simpsons spin-off showcase. 6 out of 10. That is the lowest rated episode of this season I can give. 6 out of 10. It means everything is above average.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Because I'm looking at the list. So we've got Chief Wiggum PI, which I like that one. It's
that one's
dumb,
really good.
But it's dumb in a fun way.
I just like Wiggum and Skinner. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, it's such a weird pairing, and it works. But then the Love-Matic
Grandpa.
Nah.
Yeah, that one's not great. But the song is catchy, so.
And then the Simpsons Family Smile Time Variety Hour.
Yeah. That one is actually amazing because
really?
Yeah. It's bad. It's very purposely bad. Okay. Yeah. They make it bad on purpose. And the reason, so they do a thing where in the episode they make sure to mention that, oh, just so you know, one of the Simpsons isn't in this Smile Time Family Hour, but don't worry about that. You'll never notice that they are not there. And it has replaced Lisa with like an older, like 18 to 20-year-old girl for sex appeal.
Yep, I remember that part.
Yeah. The Ralph Wiggum, sorry, the Chief Wiggum PI episode is probably the best one of the three. Like this is where you get Looking for You. That was just a warning gator. The next one won't be corked. The Ralph Wiggum description is amazing. He gives the description: white male between the ages of 6 and 10, thinning hair, for his own son.
Oof.
Or in the Simpsons Family Time Variety Hour, Marge, have you ever wondered what it would be like if we really were beavers? I have, and it would look something like this. It's fucking the worst, lowest common denominator stuff possible. And then they end with like, how do you keep the Simpsons fresh after 8 long years? Wow. They keep doing this, but you know. Yeah, that's a 6 out of 10. It's the worst episode of the season, but it's still pretty damn good.
Okay. Well, let's hear about how many 10 out of 10s did you say there are?
There's like 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear about all the other 10 out of 10s leading up to, I assume, the main one you want to talk about.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. I may be wrong with the amount of 10s out of 10s, but so you have Bart After Dark, which is basically where Bart becomes the doorman for the La Maison Derrière.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Obviously.
Best song in the series.
Yes.
One of the best songs, at least, anyway. Great plot, amazing jokes, famous memes. A Millhouse Divided, which is where Kirk and Luann get divorced.
Yes. It's got the I sleep in a bed with my wife.
I sleep in a racing car. Do you? I sleep in a bed with my wife.
Devastating line.
And just like there's a great, so like Kirk works at a cracker factory, And he's like, oh, those bastards at Allied Biscuits. And Marge is like hiding the Allied Biscuits during the party. Oh man. They also reference this like comic strip called Love Is, where like two naked 8-year-olds like canoodle and do weird things. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. The idea is like it's a guy telling his wife how much he loves her and drawing these like cutesy little comics. It is creepy and weird. I had to point out there's a DS game for this thing. Like a Nintendo DS game called Love is in Bloom, the Flower Shop card. This is also where you get the horrible song "Can I Borrow a Feeling?"
Horrible, please. The great song.
It's amazing. It's so bad. It's like, yeah.
Isn't it Turbo from
the
American Gladiator shows up?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Other 10 out of 10s. We can't spend it.
Exactly. Hurricane Nettie. What a great show. What a great episode. This is when Ned Flanders flips out. This is my favorite like line jokes of all time in The Simpsons, which is when you have Ned as a kid. They show footage of him being hyper violent and like overactive and like just an asshole. And he runs to a room with a bunch of kids and he starts yelling and punching. He's like, I'm Dick Tracy. Take that, Prune Face. Now I'm Prune Face. Take that, Dick Tracy. Now I'm Prune Tracy. Take that. And it cuts out for his Dick Face. Fuck. So good.
Yep. No, that's an obvious 10 out of 10.
And then it ends with him like threatening to run down anybody who pisses him off in his car, but like legit. Then there's El Viaje Misterioso de Nuestro Homer, the mysterious voyage of Homer, which is where he eats the ghost pepper, and he goes on the journey.
Yep.
Oh, that episode is even better than I thought it would be. I'm pretty sure this is where we get the term insanity pepper. First off,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are like Treehouse of Horror caliber jokes where things are like crazy and overblown.
Just side tangent. So when Homer is hallucinating on that pepper and just the weird skyline and everything, that scenery is intrinsically linked in my brain with the weird scenery from the Gargoyles cartoon when they go into the cyber world. They're kind of similar looking, and so my brain is always just like, one of them was surely inspired by the other, right?
Probably.
Which was it?
This is also the season where you get Homer versus the 18th Amendment, which is the Bigger Baron episode.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. We're going out, Marge. If we don't come back, Avenger deaths. All right. I'm not going to lie to you, Marge. Well, so long. Shit, it's such a good episode. So after that, we also get the most watched episode of all time, or at least the highest rated episode of all time in The Simpsons, which is Homer's Enemy, which is the one where he does witty battle with Frank Grimes, if you want to call it that. Yep. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Yes. I was ready to go into this episode, like, there's no way it's good enough to be the highest rated episode of all time. The Simpsons, it is, but it's not the best episode of the season.
Okay.
Or possibly the best episode of The Simpsons ever.
Okay.
Because here we go. This is why I'm excited for this season discussion. Got our worst, which was, the Simpsons spin-off showcase, 6 out of 10. Let me remind you of that. The best episode of season 8, You Only Move Twice. Season 8, episode 2. You know this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Took a bit.
Okay.
We have roots here,
Yeah.
Homer. We have friends and family and library cards. Bart's lawyer is here, which is a very underrated line from this episode. But
I actually, my favorite line from this episode is oh my God, I can't think of his name, but Burns' assistant, and he's just like,
Smithers.
can't a man walk down the street without getting offered a job?
Oh.
God, what's happened to this country? Like,
Great
that's
line.
so fucking stupid.
Yeah, this is for anybody who's uncertain on this. This is the Hank Scorpio episode. This is where Homer moves to this different city to become the manager of the safety nuclear facility there for Hank Scorpio, and thus help him try and become a Bond villain.
Turns him into a Bond villain. He wasn't going to be one.
Yeah.
Homer just turns him into one.
Then you also have one of the best Hank Scorpio lines. You ever see anybody say goodbye to a shoe? Yeah, once. From Homer. This is where you get I start fires. Sports collectibles. Wow, a baseball made out of Secretariat. And the background jokes are just truly good. I don't go for background jokes all that much, but this is where like it's not just things happening in the background; it's things happening in the background that come into the foreground, which then affects Homer as he walks through the facility being invaded by like the U.S. Army and that kind of stuff. And he kicks a grenade away, or he'll like punch a guy, or he'll just kind of like saunter slowly through the scene as things explode around him. And he's trying to talk to his boss about leaving and going back to Springfield. Man, it's such a well-paced, well-made, energetic episode. And it's the kind of one where, like, when it ends, I kind of want to watch it again because there's a lot to it. It's just, You Only Move Twice is... Yeah, I mean... I think I may have discussed this earlier on in this rewatch project, but I do want to do a best of the best and the worst of the worst. I gotta say, I'm gonna have a hard time with anything trying to top You Only Move Twice.
Yeah, I mean, for a character that only shows up in one episode and is so iconic, I wish more shows did a Hank Scorpio style character, right? Because
me too.
there are other subversive, we'll call them, versions of the Bond villain. In particular, two that come to mind, I will always adore Senor Senior and Senor Junior from Kim Possible.
Yeah, they're great.
Those two are really fun takes on your Bond villains. He's just this old man who happens to live on an island and enjoys his privacy. And then Kim starts talking. He's like, yes, maybe I should become a villain. And then throughout it, it's just him like reading up on stuff and being like, I have heard villains do this, so I am now stealing things. Or I am now, threatening the globe. And then Doofenshmirtz,
Doofenshmirtz is great,
a fantastic.
Wonderful character, yes.
I would love to see more versions of, hey, the reason everybody follows this evil leader is not his, steely grip on everything. It's just he's a really good boss and he's super friendly.
Yeah.
It's like, no, overtime. I don't make my employees work overtime. That's crazy. No, give me a Bond villain like that.
Yeah, seriously. Well, what is your choice for season 8? What do you want to talk about?
I feel like we have to talk about it is a reason that I'm going to bring it up, which is the Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Because that's another one where I could be wrong, but I don't believe that they have Poochie come back in any future episodes. But
yes,
I feel like
no.
you can look at any Simpsons fan and say the word Poochie, and they immediately would just be like, I have to go back to my home planet. It's such a again, one episode thing, but immensely iconic, and it feels like Poochie went beyond The Simpsons, and it becomes, a shorthand for what Poochie represented in that episode. That sort of jumping the shark, right? In the same way that you could say jumping the shark, I could say, oh, they Poochied it. And
Yep.
anyone who's seen the episodes immediately go, yep, no, I know exactly.
This is our generation's Happy Days jumping the shark, basically. Like you said, like this is the Fonz jumping the shark for us. Poochie is that. However, it's them referencing the Fonz jumping the shark. I mean, they put a new character named Roy in this episode just to make the point that he's kind of like the Fonz, and therefore, that's
Roy.
the point. Yeah. Poochie is. This episode is a masterpiece because, and I only gave it a 9 out of 10 just because it's got like one or two things where I'm kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 episode, but it's one of the most iconic.
What it does do, though, is it gets us discussing what it means for these kinds of characters and these kinds of like episodes to exist, and the state of animation. And you have a character who is Poochie is made by executives, hands down. And when you have a character like that, that's their whole shtick is, this character was made by an executive decision to push it down people's throats and try and get some more money. It feels really bad, and that's why Poochie ultimately fails, even though Homer makes that passion plea during his voice recording for the second episode where Poochie shows up. They cut that because they realize that won't make them money, and that's where we get, I must go now, my planet needs me. It's that, where they'll just go like, we're going to kill Poochie off because he's not making us any money anymore. And I think that is a very realistic and unfortunately true take to what happens in animation then and now. And even in other shows right now, like this is where you get like a lot of stuff, like a lot of executive decisions on video games and that sort of thing happen in the same realm as this. It's also, weirdly enough, a bit of a harbinger of cartoons to come, because what the kids say, so they do a focus group in the episode before they make Poochie. And in the focus group, they kind of like answer yes to a lot of the questions. And the guy giving the focus testing is like, hey, so you want a realistic and down-to-earth show that's swarming with magic and robots? And magic robots? And like the answer is yes. Which I feel as if, I mean, we know shows like this. Like, that's like Adventure Time or Steven Universe.
yeah, that's true. I think for me, like, one of the things more than that sticks out about Poochie is how so the Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show episode aired February 9th, 1997.
Yep.
And even at that point, part of the joke is just, Poochie, he wears a hat and sunglasses and leather jacket because he's rad and counterculture.
Stream to the max. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that at that point we were already dealing with sort of like, that's so lame.
Yeah.
And that instead of then going, what I would say is, going in a different direction. As a society, we kind of just instead said, no, man, he has to be even more extreme. Because I just looked it up to make sure I wasn't crazy. Because I'm sitting here thinking, man, it's funny to me that already felt like the, the dark and, not like dark and edgy, but, the counterculture thing. But it's not until 2000 that Limp Bizkit's Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water comes out. Or 1998
Holy shit.
with Korn's Follow the Leader. So it's like, oh man, it sucks that we went from like, this is a bit of an odd reference point, but it's like, we went from your like Sonic the Hedgehogs, right? Yep. Which to me, Poochie is sort of a riff on, of this,
Yeah,
like,
he is.
oh, you know what? We should move away from this PG counterculture BS and instead get into corn.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
PG-13 at the
Wow,
lowest. Yeah.
Because look, I completely agree. It's like, oh yeah, we need to get away from this like Sonic edginess. It's lame.
Yeah, sure.
But that instead we ended up with like corn and Spawn and the Crow and all that.
The Attitude Era.
Like,
the Crow was years before that, so.
no, I know, but it all blends together in my head.
Yeah,
the
fair
Crow
enough.
in many ways progenitor of a lot of this.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, we can basically blame grunge music and like shoegaze for that kind of stuff. So I think you're right.
Yeah, but I think The Simpsons is, because of their nature by which they don't not evolve, but that the characters are, let's say, always a snapshot of what a contemporary modern suburban family is supposed to be.
Yeah, of course.
You can look back on these moments and go, wow, that's how we were thinking in 97, right? Because if you think about other shows, TV shows, if you think about something like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a long-running sitcom, say Friends.
Friends,
or,
sure, yeah.
How I Met Your Mother or something.
Seinfeld.
Those Seinfeld. Did
maybe not
Seinfeld
Seinfeld.
run long? I honestly don't know. In my head, Seinfeld
9 seasons.
9. Okay, I was going to say 6. But yeah, that's an okay example. But like, those characters have to, they are more human, and they have to accept that, hey, I like this music. This is the kind of music I liked. And maybe that changes over time, but it's never oh yeah, that music's terrible. I hate that genre of music. That sucked.
Yeah.
Whereas The Simpsons can do that. It can move and evolve like that and
yes.
go, oh, this. Let's be real. The Simpsons was Poochie and is Poochie to a certain extent of that. Oh, it's PC and edgy, right? Bart's don't have a cow man. That's a Poochie line, if ever there was one at the time.
Yep, sure is. Yep, I agree.
In the sense that it was actually one people latched onto and liked, unlike Poochie, where, oh, it's lame and it's outdated. So it's almost self-referencing itself. And it can do that because Bart is still an 8-year-old child. Homer is still a late 30s, early 40s adult man. These characters stay that way. So I keep looking back at these episodes and going, wow, this is this year. Like, again, Lisa, the episode of Lisa, and sort of, okay, you can look at it and go, yeah, that was the 90s for vegetarians. Like, yeah, it was a movement that was taking off, but they got ridiculed for it. They got, people dunk on them, be like, I don't want to, here's some cabbage. That's what you like to eat because you're like a rabbit, right? You know? And it's just fascinating to me to go back and go, okay, the Simpsons are still exactly who they are, but you can go back 30 years and have this interpretation of this is what society was. This is how a family, the average, for lack of a better term, American saw things.
Yeah, you're basically right. Yeah, The Simpsons is kind of it's the lens through which we can view that kind of society at that time. It is actually a pretty good one, despite the fact that it was trying to be counterculture at the time. But what it was doing was kind of like the Married with Children thing, was they were holding the mirror up to the audience themselves at the time. So when you have that, it starts getting kind of like, eventually it starts becoming its own Ouroboros thing, right? Where it's becoming its own, holding the mirror up to itself.
Again,
which is what we're doing here.
Like, The Simpsons was Poochie 5 years earlier. Just cool, not lame.
You're totally right. Yeah, honestly, there's a lot to discuss about the Poochie episode. It almost warrants its own episode. It is a deep one, which is weird saying that about a Simpsons episode, especially one that's not You Only Move Twice. But the Poochie episode, it's got so many layers and so much going on, and like it's so reflective of even today's standards for cartoons and stuff. And the way what you're saying, you're right. It's holding the mirror up to itself, and it's a dense episode. It is so dense.
It's even because again, going back to like Korn and Limp Bizkit, even a few years later, you can look back at that and go, "Oh man, that's an interesting moment, interesting comment." That this PG edgy character, that's lame. A few years later, man, culture went this different way. But 30 years later, you look back and you could just see so much of how just the history since then and all the ways that society has Ouroboros itself, as you were saying. The Simpsons has a lot of stuff that, because they're kind of this like they are a kind of a snapshot, for lack of a better term, of everything throughout the years, that you can just go back to these episodes and it's like looking through a portal of, this is where society was at. It really is. Time,
Yeah, you're totally right. We're basically out of time, but I do want to quickly throw down some other choice episodes and lines from the season. So, number one, this is where you get the Homer They Fall, which is basically when Homer becomes a boxer. My favorite line in the entire episode is, "Look, Marge, they opened a new high-tech gadget store. You love high-tech gadgets." "No, I don't." "Like bull, you don't." Let's see, La Maison Derriere. I mean, like, truly a wonderful X Factor episode. It's got the highest X Factor I can possibly give anything. I was only in there to get directions on how to get away from there, kind of thing. Or like the La Maison Derriere song is really, really good. Spring in Springfield. Or the thing with the mysterious voyage of Homer. The one thing I got to bring up with that is that nobody remembers how that episode ends. They just remember like the voyage of Homer, like how the fever dream he has, and the talking dog. Like, find your soulmate, Homer. But the fact that like he goes to find a soulmate, and he figures out it may not be Marge, so he goes to a lighthouse because he's like, "Oh, lighthouse keepers are the loneliest people in the world. I'm coming, lighthouse keeper. We're gonna be best friends," kind of thing. And like the episode ends with him accidentally crashing a shipping liner full of hot pants into Springfield shore. Like, that's how this episode ends, with who wears shorts. Or
that's where the "I wear shorts" line comes from. Wow,
yeah.
I did not realize it was that episode.
Or the Springfield Files, which is where we get, I think it was called "The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down." Shit like that. It's such a. Also, this season may be where you get the origin of the phrase "pop quiz hot shot." I think it could be from a game show from earlier in the hundreds of years of TV. But yeah, that's from Simpsons Califragilisticexpialidocious. That episode is really good. That's where you get the Mary Poppins reference, the Sherry Bobbins in this one. Great songs. It's also, I gotta point out that one because it is what you should do with a clip show kind of thing, because it's showing vignettes of people from Springfield with different stories, but they're so quick and punchy that like they don't overstay, and it's not 3 different vignettes. Yeah.
No, it's a good one.
It is. Yeah, season 8 is, like I said, the best episode, the best season of The Simpsons, hands down. You can't go wrong, in my opinion. Others have said otherwise, but I would disagree. I'm pretty sure season 8 can stand against any other season of The Simpsons ever. So yeah, and that's not even me leading into anything. I wanted to. There's a part of this kind of like, you should say, except season 9. But I know season 9 is not as good as season 8. So
Tristan's gonna fight you, is what he's saying.
that's right. I'll fight you on it. If you think season 9 is better than season 8, I got fucking news for you. I will spoil this. Season 9 is as good as season 7 though. So
we're in the real golden years right now. That's
exactly.
without a doubt.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm excited about these two. It does go downhill from here, and now I have to say goodbye, season 7 and 8. I will miss you because you were truly the best times I've had with this project. Son, yeah.
You can still watch there's nothing that says you can't rewatch them again.
No, they're dead to me now.
You don't?
Dead to me.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, there's no like legal requirement there, Tristan. No one's gonna stop you.
I'm pretty sure there's legal requirements. So if I watch them again, I'm pretty sure this whole thing is moot.
Okay. Well,
once only ever.
Okay. I guess we'll end it there. So why don't you tell people where to find us?
Well, you should go to our Twitter, which is at EIFNIR. Go there and yell at us about how much you love season 8, you motherfuckers. Yeah, I know you do. Come on. It's the best one. You know it is. Just watch it and be like, yeah, that's the best season of The Simpsons ever. Yeah, I know. God. Go there and do that. And then you should go to our iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Use your podcatcher to catch our podcast in your grubby little paws and feast upon its flesh. And then watch the YouTube video, which you're doing right now. Like and do the thing, subscribe, thinger, bell, push button now. Please. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Checks out.
You should also go and share this show with your friends, because I'm sure they would really enjoy an hour of me telling you about the best season of The Simpsons. Yes. Do that instead of watching the best season of The Simpsons, and then go watch the best season of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Checks out.
You should also go to our friends at DJDane.com. Let's go. There's our music, DJDane.com. Go there, listen to his great tunes, and just sit him down and explain to him how he is Poochie. Let's be honest. He's a...
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry, bud. Sorry, EG Dane.
I mean, he does always wear the denim shorts, the leather jacket, the giant sunglasses. That is his
the wallet
look.
chain, yeah. He's extreme to the max, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of our Poochie.
Yeah, no, he really is, now you say it.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. Well, it's a good thing his planet needed him, and he didn't, he's not here anymore, so. Anyway, that's it for our show. Tune in next time for another Elsewhere episode of Everything's Fine is Ruined. See ya!
See ya.
Say it.